G'day guys, Calvin from the Couching Company in New Zealand. I'm in the workshop today to fit up a loom that the big guy Jason has made for me. Well, actually made for a customer. And we had to do it sort of, we weren't around each other at the time when we were doing it. So I had to communicate with Jason and the customer and produce a loom. Well, Jason produced a loom that was going to work for this job. And now I'm here to test it. I've gone through and done some checking, checked it all as it should be. And I actually think Jason might have been doing a few Haltecs at that time, or thinking of putting a Haltec dash in it, because the can wires were Haltec wired. And this is a link. But they're the same, you just turn around the two wires and put them right. But he's done a beautiful, beautiful job of the loom. In fact, it would be hard to tell which one of us made it. It is that good. Customer's already got a Link Storm. The vehicle is supercharged. It's running R8 Audi coils. And then I sat down and he sent us some videos. Nope, he sent us some photos. So the customer sent us some photos and I popped them all in a folder so we could go through them and communicate with what needed to be done, because we can make pretty much anything 1UZ wiring wise. Jason every now and then turns to the dark side and builds some JZ stuff, but I don't touch that stuff because I don't know how 6 cylinders in a row work. They have to be in a V for me. They have to be in a V for me.
That loom there?
Yeah, that loom there. I still don't know. It's only got 6 injector plugs on that loom over there.
Yep.
We're talking about 8 injector plugs and 8 coil plugs.
Smooth. In a line, nice and smooth. And there's a big wobbly stuff.
See the problem I have? Back to your supercharged Hilux there. And it's kind of fortunate because Jason's also working on a supercharged Hilux here right at the moment, while I'm testing a loom that he made for a supercharged Corolla in the USA. This of course is a left-hand, no, it's a right-hand drive. It's a right-hand drive, so the wiring loom goes to the left. The one I'm about to test is a left-hand drive, so the wiring loom will go to the right. Big injectors, same as the one we're working on. Throttle body to that side. This one's getting different coils. This one's had brackets cut off. So it's a KE70 Corolla, and I've listed down all the bits and pieces that we're putting on it. And it's a fluid plan. We sometimes change it a little bit as we're doing the jobs. And we've communicated with the customer, and the customer's all happy with that. And of course photos, photos like this. Oh, there's the air temp sensor, which happens to be the same as that one over there on that ute. So we've made a little sub loom for the air temp sensor. And we've actually added an extra air temp sensor, so there's 2, which we'll show you once we get into it. Here's a photo of the engine bay. It's the photo of the engine bay with the throttle body out to the side there. So I think we can probably get away with NA, if I NA it, and we just flip the manifold, the loom should kind of still fit, and put the throttle body in the right place. So I think that should work. Still, it's backwards and that motor's not quite ready to run, is it?
Fire it up.
Yeah. Your tablet covers are kind of important.
Just check what was there.
I know. I think I just put this together. We'll run it the wrong way over that side. So I might turn the engine around so I've got the loom where I want it to be on my bench. And we'll put the throttle body, flip the intake manifold, because the intake manifolds flip. Air temp should reach, TPS should reach, because you've got a bit of extra there. And I can run through what I need. Simple. And I've used our bog standard relay box, the last one that you made, and I'm going to put in a waterproof fuse holder for the alternator sense wire. So it all kind of works for me. Oh well. And then I put a program in and make it sure it runs, and because he's still going to set it up for the supercharger once it gets to the USA. So we've got photos. We're going to get in and put this loom on that engine, do some checking, do some setups, and we'll come back to you when it's running, and we'll run through with what we've done. And as I said, we can pretty much make what is required for the 1UZs. This one's got a straight thermostat housing on it too, like a possibility for that I got as a spare. It's on this one. It's actually interesting to compare them to. Alright, this is I think this was on the 112, where that one of course is the HTV 1900. Oh no, it's a 122. Sorry, my mistake. It's a 122. We're going to use the bench to stop it moving over, stopping the engine turning on the engine stand.
Oh yeah, from its torque vectoring.
Yep.
Okay.
So this wiring loom, the alternator plug, it's got a round plug. Round plug. So my alternators on this one's actually an oval plug, so I'm using an adapter at this point in time. EFI temp sensor, which has a single pin flat one for the gauge sensor, which is this one. Now there's different kinds again, so there's the moulded ones and there's the flat ones. So we've put a flat one on this particular job. Okay. Crank angle sensor plug at the bottom here. Cam angle sensor plug up here. I've actually been doing some testing on this one, on this engine, and I've actually got a VVTi trigger wheel in there, so I just need to make a change there. And the software, it can be set up to either. And this little sub loom here, which has got the plug for the oil pressure sensor on it, and we're using a combo oil pressure, oil temperature sensor on at the moment, but the customer of this loom will let me know which one he prefers. The sensor isn't included. We were commissioned to build a loom. They've already got coils, but we can sometimes supply coils, air temp sensors and all those things we can supply, but for this one it is actually just the wiring. It doesn't even include a computer. We are just running standard UZ injectors on this particular job. The job that it's going to go on to is got RX8 injectors, but they're the same plug, funnily enough. This white plug is the Purge Solenoid if it's being run. If not, just tuck it out of the way.
This is a positive to the alternator.
That is a positive to the alternator, so that's the charge wire from the alternator. At the back here we have a plug for the gearbox loom. So in there is a power and an earth, which is good. There's a speed signal, which is the bottom one, that goes to the ECU. The owner of this loom did suggest that they intended to put a dash into it. So for the dash we want to feed as much information into the ECU as possible. So fuel pressures, oil pressures, water temperatures, which always goes in, air temps. This one has 2 air temps in this loom. But if you put it, and the speed, so you put it all in, then it comes up on your aftermarket dash and it makes things easy. Kind of similar to what we're doing to the Hilux over there, but that's of course a different job to this one. At the back here there's an earth that's important, and we've got a map sensor plug. We will run it though on that GM one, so a little plug-in loom here, a little adapter loom, and we'll get the GM map sensor to run it. So I'll set that up just so we know that that sub loom is working. Oh, we haven't shrunk this one. So that's for under the intake manifold. So that plugs into this plug and can go to an air temp. I don't know if I've got an air temp here. It's the same as that one over there on that ute. There we go, you can shrink that there. It's awesome. And there's a little sub loom for the oil pressure. There's another plug on here for fuel pressure, fuel temperature. That one there. So that one. The job's got some BPP. It's got some aftermarket fuel rails on it. So then a fuel pressure, fuel temp sensor, or whatever sensor can be tapped in appropriately. I really like the Bosch combo sensors. They are just an awesome, awesome unit. In this loom, if you want to put an oil pressure switch in it, there is the capabilities of doing that. There is a spare earth, but that can be altered actually. It can become a wire that comes up to the body plugs. But Shay will put that together. And I'm going to plug this side of things in, which is really, really simple. ECU plugs in. Easy. This is a CAN plug. So for the CAN communications going out to the dash, I have put the terminating resistor in. There's a power and earth. If you want to put CAN lambda in or anything like that, any CAN products, you can put through there. This is the dash plug. So we've got some auxiliary outputs. I have got some paperwork that comes with it. Little folder. And so the outputs from the ECU can be set up however the owner wants to. There is an earth and a power. There's two wires in there because one of them is actually the earth or the extra wire down at that oil pressure plug. So if you want to use it, say to air conditioning, you could clip that out and it becomes a power or a signal wire down to that loom. Right. And then the relays and fuses. So I've used my normal relay and fuse blocks, and I've added a external fuse for the sensor wiring to the alternator, so the sense wire, the permanent power. And this just plugs in. That is in the box as well, which is the other side of this. It's an Anderson plug, plugs in, that's powered up. Fuel pump, we've got fan on the end, then we've got fuel pump, ignition in and start in. Righto. We have a charged battery, we have an engine loom on, we've got this thing powered up. Let's see, we've got fan, fuel pump, we've got petrol in the fuel pump bucket, ignition on and start. Here we go. Okay.
Lightning.
She's a runner. Right, what other things should I talk about? Idle speed control. Because we're testing this one without the supercharger, we have put in this plug here, which is for the idle speed control. We've tapped this is our normal bolt-on one for a UZ. But we've actually got a weld-on one, which I'd show on that ute, but it's not here, eh? It's getting welded on.
Yeah.
The IAC. Yeah. So we've actually got an IAC, very similar to this, kit for weld-on situations. We used it on that supercharged Prado as well. This loom isn't coming with any sensors, but I just should show the sensor we used. Again, there's the Bosch sensor that we prefer to use, Bosch combo sensor. They do come with these are a 10x1 thread. So you've got to use an adapter down to your 1/8 gas or 27 NBT. And the customer will let me know which knock sensor or which start loom, whether it's just a starter motor or whether it's got a pair of knocks or whatever else in there. I think that's ready to come off. On fuel pressure, again, we've used the fuel pressure, fuel temp. These are so cheap, these sensors now, by comparison to everything else. It makes sense to even just use them as a pressure sensor and not use the temp circuit if you're using them. Just that the plug's a little pricey compared to some others. Okay, I think we're good. Air temps are both calibrated. This loom is off to the US, into a car that's in the US, and then he will need to configure the tune to suit what he's doing with his car. So you've got, like, in the dash plugs, there's a whole lot of auxiliary outputs.
Yeah.
So he'll configure those to suit his needs.
Okay.
Okay, so if he wants a tacho, if he wants an oil pressure output,
He's gonna want
but he's thinking of putting a dash in it, like we've done to that ute. So you don't need any of that. You just plug in the CAN circuit, and I've already done a CAN with power. Well, Jason did power and the CAN wires. So if we put in a Link dash or an AIM dash or a Haltech dash, any of those dashes, he can just plug it in, and all that data gets streamed over the CAN stream.
Oh, yeah.
So he doesn't need to have individual wires for that. So you've got all these extra auxiliaries. Okay.
Really, they're quite expensive though, but I guess it's worth it.
Well, if you go in and you go put individual gauges in, or you've got a car where you by the time you set up everything, you actually want to monitor stuff.
Yeah.
A dash is actually really good value these days.
Yeah, especially if you're doing a race car.
And more people that buy them, the cheaper they're going to get, and or the better they're going to get.
Yeah.
So it really makes a lot of sense. It's simplified that one because we've taken the factory dash out, the fuel gauge, Monster Tack, and water and an oil. Did it have an oil as well?
No, I think it's just a water temp.
Just have a water temp, and not the and it didn't have an oil. So we get rid of all those gauges.
Yeah.
And then we were going to put a CAN gauge in it. So we got rid of all that and put a dash in it. And it's easy. And so, right, I'm pretty happy. We're going to call this one done, peel it off, and get it boxed up, ready to go to the customer. Hope that's been helpful. Talk to you again soon.